Nvidia's stock went up over 200% in a single year. Investors who missed that wave are now desperately looking for the next one. And right now, some of the smartest money on Wall Street is pointing at one company, not another chip designer, not a software giant. A memory maker from Boise, Idaho, that most people completely ignore. Its name is Micron. And the case for it being the next Nvidia is a lot stronger than you might think. Here's the thing about the AI boom that most people don't fully appreciate. Everyone talks about the brain, the processors, the GPUs. Nvidia makes those, and yes, they're essential. But a brain without memory is useless. You can have the most powerful processor on the planet, and it still needs somewhere to store and access data at incredible speeds. That's where memory chips come in. And that's where Micron lives. For most of its history, Micron was about as boring as a tech company could get. It made DRAM chips and NAND flash storage. The stuff inside your laptop, your phone, your camera, commodity hardware, the kind of product where the only competition is on price. Margins were thin. The stock would rise and fall with supply cycles. Investors mostly yawned. But something changed. AI didn't just create demand for better processors. It created a completely new kind of hunger for memory, specifically a type of memory called HBM, high bandwidth memory. And Micron is one of only 3 companies in the world that can make it. That changes everything. So what exactly is HBM and why does it matter so much? Think about it this way. Traditional memory is like a 2-lane road. Data moves in and out, but there's a limit to how fast it can travel. HBM is like replacing that road with a 1,000-lane superhighway. It stacks memory chips directly on top of the processor using tiny vertical connections. The result is data transfer speeds that are almost incomprehensibly fast. We're talking over a terabyte per second in some configurations. Why does AI care about this? Because training and running large AI models isn't just about raw computing power. It's about how fast you can feed data to the processor. If your memory can't keep up, your GPU is just sitting there waiting. It's like having a Formula One engine stuck behind a traffic jam. HBM removes that bottleneck entirely. Now here's where Micron's story gets really interesting. For years, Micron was behind its Korean competitors, Samsung and SK Hynix, in HBM development. Wall Street basically wrote them off in this race. But in 2024, something shifted. Micron shipped its HBM3E chips, and they didn't just catch up. By several independent benchmarks, their product was actually more power efficient than the competition. Nvidia took notice. Micron's HBM is now inside Nvidia's H200 chips, the same chips that every major AI lab on the planet is desperate to get their hands on. And this is where the Nvidia comparison starts making real sense. Remember what happened when Nvidia went from being a gaming chip company to becoming the backbone of AI infrastructure? The market re-rated the entire business. The valuation model changed completely. Investors stopped thinking about it as a cyclical hardware company and started thinking about it as a critical AI infrastructure provider. That re-rating is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Analysts at banks like Morgan Stanley and Bank of America are now saying the same re-rating could happen to Micron. Because if AI compute keeps scaling, and every signal right now says it will, then demand for HBM isn't a trend. It's a structural shift. Micron's management has said that HBM is already sold out through 2025. Sold out. In an industry where oversupply used to be the constant headache, they literally cannot make this stuff fast enough. There's also a geopolitical angle here that you can't ignore. The US government is actively trying to keep advanced chip technology out of China. Micron is an American company. Samsung and SK Hynix are South Korean. In a world where supply chain security is becoming a national priority, having a domestic HBM producer matters enormously. The CHIPS Act has already started directing investment toward exactly this kind of strategic manufacturing. Micron has announced a massive expansion of US-based production. That's not just good for business. It's politically protected business. And then there's the data center wave. Every major tech company, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, is in a full sprint to build out AI infrastructure. The capital expenditure numbers are staggering. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars being spent on data centers over the next few years. Every single one of those data centers needs memory, lots of it. The traditional DRAM market is also recovering from a brutal down cycle. So Micron is getting a tailwind from both sides at once. So what does this actually mean for you? Well, if you're an investor, the Wall Street thesis is essentially this. Micron is still priced like a cyclical commodity hardware company, but it's increasingly operating like a critical AI infrastructure business. That gap between perception and reality is where the opportunity lives. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. Micron still faces real risks. Samsung and SK Hynix aren't standing still. Manufacturing is hard. Yields matter. One bad quarter can shake confidence. But zoom out and the trajectory is hard to argue with. AI is not slowing down. Memory is not optional. And Micron is one of 3 companies on Earth that can supply the most advanced kind. The broader lesson here is worth sitting with regardless of whether you ever buy a single share. The AI boom isn't just one story, it's dozens of stories. The obvious winners get priced in fast. The infrastructure plays, the picks and shovels, those are where the next chapters are being written. Micron might just be one of the most important chapters nobody's reading yet. And if you're a YouTube creator yourself, check out CPM Scout at cpmscout.com. It shows you exactly which topics pay the highest CPM so you can make smarter videos. Link in the description.